back to the alma mater or even academic institutes for that matter. And some of the academic institutes saying that industry is not supporting, but whereas they are supporting in a big way. So what is the best way of utilizing or how to ensure that this gap can be reduced? We have to involve the industry people in the entire academic cycle of the institute. The academic cycle starts with admission process, and then we have orientation, and then we have classes being conducted, and then we have projects, and as well as examinations. So when you involve in all these things, automatically they will come for placements because you've already developed rapport with the people. And at our Institute of Public Enterprise, we have been involving in all these stages of academic cycle, right from admissions, orientation program, and then afterwards classes. Some of the industry people are requested to teach full course or at least guest lectures. And the students have so many clubs at the institute, almost 14 to 15 student clubs. For every domain area, there is a club: marketing, finance, HR, operations, business analytics, book reading club, cultural club, photography club. Now the students, they take the help of the faculty, they invite industry people. They get to know about the industry people. And then students organize one major management event called as Samskriti, where all B schools from the entire country, they are invited, including IIMs, IITs. The students organize the event. There also industry people are invited as judges for the event. The students conduct another event called as Startuppedia, so where they invite all entrepreneurs and including alumni, and the competition where again students from all B schools they participate, and where they come up to the B plan and they make presentation. So industry people are invited as mentors. They guide in the proposal preparation, and finally they declare the winners. Like the students organize events like Samati. For every domain area, there is Samati. Samati in Sanskrit means meeting of the finest minds, Samati. So finance Samati, marketing Samati, HR Samati. So this Samati is an event where we utilize the opportunity to bring the best practices, what are happening, whatever you have taught. But over and above that, we provide an opportunity for practitioners to share their experiences so that the students get the opportunity. Then another opportunity is 2 months internship when the student work there. So there is one guide in the industry. There is also a guide in the institution. And what we tell the faculty, please maintain the rapport with the industry guide, mentor. Invite him for a lecture because every faculty is teaching a 3-credit course, 30 hours. Invite industry people or your own mentor whom you know for 1 or 2 sessions. So like that rapport has to be developed, and the industry people also feel that yes, we are working closely with an academic institution and they are always ready to help. So this way they act as guides or mentors, and a long-term relationship is established over the process. Automatically, if there is an opportunity of placement, they think about the institution with which they are associated right from the stage 1 of the academic cycle. This is how actually we can reduce the industry academic gap.
Thank you so much. Our time has been just dropped by 10 minutes. So 40 minutes, I think we have only 30 minutes now. So over to Professor Das.
Thank you. See, this industry academia gap can exist across multiple dimensions. So at IMI, what we decided to do was focus on one dimension to start off with. And we wanted to choose that dimension which would give us the biggest bang for the buck in terms of bridging that gap. So the dimension that we chose to focus on was the gap between what industry expects from MBA graduates and what the MBA graduates actually are. And there is a gap, and I'm not talking about soft skills gap, I'm talking about domain knowledge gap. Industry expects certain domain knowledge, certain capabilities, and students graduating out of a B school may not always have those capabilities. So what did we do to bridge that gap? We brought in industry recruiters, the business people on the recruitment companies, to come and help us design curriculum. So we went to the root problem, the curriculum. So we said, okay, let's accept the fact that maybe our curriculum is not aligned with what industry wants today. It might have been aligned with what industry wanted earlier, but not today. So we got industry folks, people who would be managing our students when they go to work there, across the table to tell us what learning outcomes do they want. So it is not enough for them to say they must know this topic, they must know that topic. The topics are not what they do on the job. They're expected to do certain things. What are the learning outcomes they want? And from the learning outcomes, in consultation with these industry folks, we reverse engineered the curriculum. And that has been a major exercise over the last few years for our multiple programs, one or two programs every year, where we have done a major curriculum restructuring exercise with inputs from industry, starting off with the learning outcomes they desire, and then reverse engineering the curriculum from those learning outcomes. And we had always been getting in about 20% of lectures to be delivered by industry folks. So a given class, a given course of say 30 hours, as per practice, 6 hours would be outsourced to some industry practitioner. But they would have come earlier and taught what was in our curriculum. And that curriculum might have been suboptimal in terms of meeting the expectations of the recruiter. So now they are involved in the curriculum design. So they already have ownership and skin in the game. And then they come in and deliver 20% of that curriculum. So things are much more aligned. So this is something that we have seen has helped us a lot. We developed an analytics concentration just about 4 years ago. And that we did from the very beginning in this manner. And we have been able to, get very good recruitment outcomes in that space because there was alignment from day one. So this is what we have been doing to bridge the industry academia gap in that one dimension of the gap between what the recruiter wants and what the students bring to the table when they graduate.
Oh, that's wonderful. If you look at the way the industry academia gap has been addressed by a lot of institutions, a lot of institutions would want to break it up into two parts, which is one is the what we call the hygiene factor. So the curriculum upgradation is a routine process. You do it end of every term for the next term. You bring in the industry to corporate executives to share the curriculum with design with them, even share the pedagogy with them, and they give you input. So you fine tune the curriculum, and then it's the professors who teach the courses, and then you bring in these industry speakers to do it. One of the biggest gap, as Professor Das also mentioned, is the gap in the learning outcome. So while the industry has an expectation, but the professors are the one who are the delivery agents. So how do you actually fulfill that gap? So we realize that it's not only the professors who have to do it, but then if the professors are the corporate, then you don't have that kind of an issue. But that's not possible because, the requirements for having a professor is different and the requirement for having a corporate is different. So therefore, this question came of faculty doing internship. Okay. That's not easy. We explored that option, but faculty has an issue, corporate has an issue. That's not really feasible. So then how do you engage the corporate such that the learning gap is addressed in a way? Now, this is where a lot of mentorship comes in, the live projects come in, and there are a lot of softwares available. The HR professionals, some of the companies, they offer you the software on which you sign up, the students sign up, and they have a pool of corporate executives who sign up and they choose the students or the student choose the corporates, and there's some kind of interaction. We tried that and it really doesn't work. It has not worked because corporates, they never find time to engage with the students. And of course, they expect some kind of incentive. And so how much incentive we gave, why should they spare time? And all those issues are there. So this has been a teething problem. And we are all looking at enhancing students' learning such that the placement happens the way it is expected. So we are also experimenting on this aspect as to how do we fine tune. So it's a continuous upgradation, learning from the issues coming up and then fine tuning our engagement with the corporate and doing essentially mentorship in a different avatars every time. So we have started a new kind of a mentorship just now. And that too as a pilot project with about less number of people, and if it works out well, then we'll do it. So hopefully this is entirely different style of doing it. Let's see, it should work out. I don't want to share because we are not very sure. So my question here to the panel is that you have done these industry academia gap addressing in different ways. Briefly, I have stated some of them. So have you experienced a problem which you, on a hindsight, you said that had I done that in a different way, I would have done better? If there are such experiences, maybe the audience would be able to find some common chord with that, and it just might help. So it's open to anyone. I hope I am clear on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So one point which I forgot to inform earlier, the academic cycle. After admissions, there is a curriculum design stage. There we involve them in the board of studies, academic advisory council. So there we involve in the academic advisory and as well as curriculum board of studies, so that they help us in giving the inputs relating to the changes in syllabus, whatever we can do. So we incorporate their suggestions and do that. So even coming to the process of inviting all the mentors to the campus, so we are not able to fully implement, but though we have it a policy, individual teacher also should take the initiative, go and meet them in their office. That is very important. Take an appointment, meet them and develop the rapport, which will help in getting some training programs and in the long term. So we have to work in this direction actually.
In fact, now I was thinking, when companies came to campus, they were talking about analytics. Must be 4 years, 3 years, 4 years back itself. So we were even out there. All of us are teaching Excel, right? MS Excel is being taught at the premier, at the as part of foundation. We changed the nomenclature. Instead of putting as MS Excel, we put it as business intelligence as a subject. You wouldn't believe people started attending it with full, I mean, attendance is there, but they were all the more excited to prove that I am intelligent. So that worked, that clicked well. So term 1, that was fine. So we had to take it to business intelligence course 1, 2, 3. And later on, of course, it comes to business analytics and so on. But a small change in nomenclature did add, I would say, and also motivated students to do better, which we felt.
So yeah, in just terms of learnings, one of the things that I'd learned very early was what gets measured gets done. And initially in our assessment processes, we had a lot of emphasis on the trimester end exam, where nearly close to 70% actually sat there and 30% on continuous assessments. This, let's say, around 4 years or back. Learning, and as we evolve, we've now got that down to 50-50. And that's drastically changed the outcome in terms of learnings for a student. So that's something that we observed, we made the change, and we've seen a huge benefit to that.
Any other? Yeah.
Professor Das, I'll specifically address your question that is there something in hindsight we think we could have done differently or better in whatever we are doing to bridge the industry academia gap. Now, see, what often happens is that, and this is something that is human nature, there's a lot of resistance to change among all faculty, senior, junior, whatever. So they are used to teaching a certain course with a certain content, and they believe that is relevant, even though industry consumers of that talent pool that comes out may not believe it's relevant. And in these meetings that we have for curriculum restructuring, people are polite. So the industry folks who come are too polite to say that what you're doing is archaic, right? And so we have been at times gotten this sense earlier on, become complacent that maybe what we're doing is reasonably relevant, maybe 80% of it is relevant and 20% we have to do differently from what they're telling us. Whereas actually it might be 50-50. I'm just making up numbers here, right? So what we have learned is that we need to somehow create an atmosphere in that room where the industry folks feel that they can be candid and they can call a spade, and they don't have to be extra polite and not say something that might upset the professors. But that has required for us to do some kind of a mindset change internally, because the entire team of colleagues who walks into that room has to be able to be on board of that philosophy and tell the industry people there, you tell us point blank without mincing words. Just say what you have to say, call a spade a spade. So I think that has been our biggest learning, which is a resistance to change, overcoming thing. It's a cultural issue of being willing to accept that maybe there is somebody out there who knows what is relevant for our students to learn today, that we may be good at delivering, but we may not have known that that is relevant for them to learn today. So that has been our biggest learning.
That reminds me of an anecdotal story from I'm Lucknow. I was a professor there, which we tried to. You want to go? Okay. Which we tried, because we still have 5 minutes there. Which we tried, doing at Ford School of Management. The recruiters, when they come for recruitment, the feedback is taken from them post the interview process as to know what you think is the gap in the student, and we do it at Ford School as well. And we take a, summarize that and then, do a process. At Lucknow, I am Lucknow, the similar thing was done. And the placement office and the concerned dean in charge collated all that information and passed on that information to respective areas, academic areas. They need to look at that and, fine tune it. There was one gap which was not being addressed by the concerned area, the HR area. So he tried his best to tell the area chair that, well, this is something which the corporate says that you need to put it into the curriculum, and it's not being done by any of the course. So the area says, I'll share it in my group and then, I'll find out. Nothing was done. So this matter was brought to the academic council meeting. The entire faculty is sitting there. There was a faculty council meeting. And that's how I came to know. So this matter was brought in and it was shared that, well, this is the gap. So the director was requested that, well, this is the gap. Now, please, tell people. So he said, okay, which area does this fall into? The detailing was given. So somebody said, oh, this falls into the HR area. So, okay, HR area. So, okay, so which course it falls into? Somebody, oh, okay, the closest is this particular course. Okay. So he says, okay, this particular course. So who teaches that course? The professor was sitting there. Okay. So this professor teaches that course. So this is the closest can get into. So he was requested that, oh, please include this in your curriculum and change the curriculum design for next term onwards. So he justified that, no, I don't need to do that because this is an elective course and I have put in a lot of effort to design it and don't want any changes to happen. He refused. So it was insisted, refused, and then insisted again. The file he gave up. And he said, okay, I'll bring that change in my curriculum. Now, coincidentally, he was sitting next to me. So the subject matter moved to the next agenda and discussion continued. After 3-4 minutes, he leans towards me and tells me in Hindi, Professor Das, I'll teach only what I know. You forced me to. So Professor Himadri Das point, the faculty is resistant to any new thing that gets in. So what we have tried to do at Ford School of Management, for example, these are the standard operating procedure. When the recruiter comes for recruitment, so we take a feedback. And this is a lot of art required. You cannot go and ask, tell me something. So you get into a conversation, you talk to them. So the people who are involved in this, the end of the meeting, they write a report, 4-line, 5-line, that's it, 2-line, 1-line. They have to write a report and just keep filing it. And that's how we capture all those details. So once that is summarized, instead of any specific group of people giving that feedback to the area chair, we decided, because of this experience of mine at IIM Lucknow, that don't give it to the area chair. You yourself figure out who's the professor who's closest to this, and have a one-to-one chat and request that this is what the corporates require. I think you are doing a great job in your course, so can you include this in the curriculum next time onwards? And we found that the reception was actually 100%. Everybody said, oh yeah, that's okay. Oh, I didn't know, and I thought it's not important. Okay, then I'll fine tune it and do it. The resistance comes when the area chairs tell them, oh, who are you to tell me this? I don't report to you. And then once the negativity sets in, then be it a faculty council meeting or even the chairman of the board who tells you to do it, and professors can't be budged, so I won't do it. So if you, on a hindsight, if you do it like this, you get them involved in, that gap which is there. They own up. They're, okay, I understand. Okay, that's fine. And this is not a professor telling. It's the placement officer who tells. Sir, we have done our this. And I think, sir, you are the one who looks into the placement in charge has taken a feedback and talked to other professors to know who's the guy, right? And then he goes, so there's a much better reception of these, inclusive in terms of they accepting these kinds of things. So that's my view. Any other perspective that you would like to give quickly? We still have a minute.
No, I think we kind of covered what we could in a short time, right?
Okay. So I think that's about it. Thank you very much. I think we did justice to the time given to us, and we are finishing 40 seconds before time, which was curtailed by 10 minutes midway. So then I speeded up. We need to close. So we are closing now 33 seconds before. Thank you.
Quite commendable indeed. Can we have a round of applause for the panelists here? And I would request you to humbly stay back. I would request the presence of Dr. Urvashi Makkar, Director, IMS Ghaziabad, to please join me here on stage to felicitate our dignitaries. Can we welcome the lady with a round of applause, please? Everybody, hands up in the air. Thank you so much. Can we please have the mementos? Thank you once again to our dignitaries for giving us their precious time here today. It was truly an honor for us to have you here with us. Please accept this token of respect from our end. Thank you once again to our panelists. We'll have one group picture with the mementos. Thank you all. Moving ahead to our next panel discussion, and it is on a very, very interesting topic, industrial training and skilling for Industry 5.0. I would request the humble presence of our following panelists to kindly join us here on stage, starting with Vishwa Mohan Bansal, Chairman, NDIM. Let's welcome sir with a round of applause, please. Everybody, thank you. I would like to invite Dr. Urvashi Makkar, Director, IMS Ghaziabad, one more time to please join in the panel henceforth. Next, I would like to call upon Professor Dr. M. Vishwanath Thaya, Director, IFIM College, to please join us in. Next, I would like to call upon Professor Rupal W. Sharma, Chairperson, PGPGM, Head, Delhi Center, SP, GIMR. Can we have a round of applause for the lady as well? And last but not the least, our moderator for this session, Professor Sanjay Fuloria, Professor, ICFAI, Business School, IBS, Hyderabad. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in here today. I would request the moderator to kindly take the session forward.
Good evening, everyone. So there are three keywords that we are supposed to deal with: training, skills, and Industry 5.0. Now, let me start with a question to the audience. How many of you have heard of the word prompt engineering? Can we have a show of hands? Prompt engineering? Excellent. So nobody had heard of this term before November 2022 because it is related to ChatGPT. Now, this is a skill which comes under Industry 5.0. Tomorrow there would be a new term. So this is how fast things are changing, right? And we have to adjust as higher educational institutes. Now, ChatGPT has done wonders in the sense if you give an assignment as a teacher to students, they will put the prompts in ChatGPT, the entire report will be created within 30 seconds. So now what people are doing, professors are giving them assignments, telling them use ChatGPT for the first draft and improve it. And then I will evaluate. So that's the kind of on your feet thinking people have to do. So if we go to the term Industry 5.0, it basically deals with three things. One is the human centricity. So AI is not going to rule us. We need to take advantage of AI. Second is sustainability. And third is resilience. So these three terms define what Industry 5.0 is. So in today's panel, I request all the panelists to think about and reflect and tell us what they are doing in their organizations so that they can be up to date with the Industry 5.0 skills which are required, and how do they plan to train and upgrade the students that they have and even the executives that they train. So we'll start in order. I'll request Mr. Bansal to take the first tab. We have around 35 minutes, so each of you have 5 to 6 minutes, and then if there is some time left, I'll come back to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. And in the company of such esteemed colleagues, I'd learned something for further doing what exactly is expected out of us under Industry 5.0. To be honest, there's a lot to be done. Of course, a couple of things have been done, but one has never to be satisfied with what exactly you're doing. First of all, if you want to be discussing the skills or the training part, fortunately, we have a tremendous industry support, industry backup. Even today, 4 senior industry people are at the campus. And we have a big system, a very robust system of the feedback that we keep on getting after every visit. And there's a review of that, whether the same has been put into place, whether it could be implemented, and to what extent it is being implemented. Number one, I was hearing the previous panel and Professor Das talking about difficulties at times not very keenly adopting to changes. But let me say that we have been very fortunate. Our faculty is very keen at learning new things and very apt at delivering the things faster than my expectation. So we have been able to have this culture over the years. Yes, difficulty was there. Possibly without at that time even knowing the real word of Industry 5.0, we have been really taking care of each other at our campus. Even during the 2 years of COVID, all of us were very strongly connected with each other from day one. Our exams were postponed only for 2 days. You won't believe. 22nd March was a lockdown. 24th March, the exams were slated. And we conducted exams from 26th of March in the online mode. Rather, the chairman AICT, when he learned, he called me up after 4 days as to how did you do it and which portals did you use it, which technology did you use it. So the entire credit goes to the faculty, and fortunately, no faculty has, to be honest, left us all these days or all these years. We are grateful to them. Possibly, I don't know, willingly, unwillingly, knowingly, unknowingly, possibly one is trying to be taking care of the people over there. And even during COVID, I must say, we put a full-time doctor onto the job. We bought so many oxygen concentrators. We bought everything, and faculty could just come and pick up. Their houses are being getting sanitized by our staff every 3rd day whenever there was a difficulty. So I think that's a part of Indian culture. It's part of our culture. We don't have to really learn out of it. And more you are conscious about it, possibly you are delivering the whole thing. Coming to the students, only last month, the newest students did 2 weeks of CSR internship, all the 100% students. And now they're preparing projects around that. They would be evaluated against all of them. We have 2 more such systems. One is we created a V cell, we call it a Women Entrepreneurship Cell. It was created 2 years back with the support of SHM. Intention is that women, the girls studying at the campus, they would get into social entrepreneurship in a very big way. And fortunately, you'll be happy to know that a lot of boys also joined it, that why girls, we will do it together with them. And they've been taking up social entrepreneurship projects throughout the country about it. So that's another couple of such things are happening very regularly. We have two other centers, sustainability and excellence, and there's another RIPA NDM Center of Excellence, where students are working around renewable energy sectors, because we see a very big scope for jobs in that sector. All our courses, I mean, it's not easy to believe it, all our courses, electives and core, have a component of sustainability included in that. And you would say, how exactly it's possible? What exactly is being done under that? So we are trying to say in this teaching, which are the sustainability aspect which the industry needs to take care. What are the sustainability aspects, if not taken care of, are going to hit your businesses? So purpose is, being a business school, every aspect of sustainability into that sector has to be merged part into the curriculum. So I think now, I mean, not sufficient I've said, but given another opportunity, I'll add whatever more to this.
Thank you, Mr. Bansal, for great insights. So one skill that we all need to learn is thinking on our feet. So a very good example sir gave, when as soon as the lockdown was announced, the institute pivoted to online testing, right? So that's something which is good thinking and fast thinking. And on sustainability and resilience also, they're already doing something which is a good thing. But one more aspect that all of us need to look at is scan the environment continuously as to what is the next thing that is coming up. So we should not be left behind when the industry comes up with a new term or a new technology. We should not be following the industry. We should be leading the industry as higher educational institutes. So moving on to Dr. Urvashi, could you please tell us what your institute is doing in this regard?
Thank you very much, and very good afternoon to all of you. And it definitely is an honor to be part of this elite panel, and a lot to learn from each other. And highly relevant theme for this particular panel. I must congratulate the organizers for this. I must share one thing, and of course, that is very well known to all of us in Skilling 5.0. Or if we are talking about, undoubtedly, the future for work, that is something which needs to be understood by every B school. After all the B schools are the talent providers to the market. We are creating certain level of the talent which is conducive and as per the expectations and requirements of the corporate. That's what is the engagement, and that's what is the collaborative equation and the dynamics which we are creating in the market. So that is why I believe that everyone who is belonging to this academic fraternity, specifically in the B schools, have huge responsibility on their shoulders. And that responsibility starts, I believe, right from the first day the student enters into the campus, because every single day is going to give them entirely different perspective and dimension of the skills. When we talk about the skilling in this current scenario where the dynamic approach between the technology, corporate, and the human have become very complex, it definitely is a very challenging task for the B schools to adapt according to these expectations. Just imagine that Harvard University has launched 60 years of curriculum in which they are dedicating a big division for creating continuously the curriculum for the 60 years of work life of any single individual, as per on the hypothesis that every one of us is having 60 years of working life. And when we talk about the current scenario, the youngsters, as per the very recent Forbes article, which was published only last month, that the youngsters in the age group of 22 to 40 years, they are changing their jobs in the duration of 2 to 3 years. That is the average transition rate of the youngsters. So the reasons have to be understood, first of all, by the B schools, and then they should be integrated in the whole scenario and the system. And the ecosystem needs to be created. Just imagine that after every 5 years, the skill set expectations are changing in the market. Imagine the skill which is today highly significant and strategic is going to become redundant after 5 years. So it is not about which skill we are teaching in the B school at this moment, but it is about creating the learning agility amongst the students. It's very important component that we have to create the flexibility with respect to the learning for the lifelong amongst our students in the B school, so that whatsoever are the skill requirements, they have that inbuilt capability to learn, relearn, and unlearn according to the requirements of the market and in the corporate sector. But yes, definitely for those 2 years, what exactly are the expectations of the corporate in the coming 5 years? They have to be understood, and accordingly, the student should be given the training and development. So surely, based on all these aspects, at IMS Ghaziabad, we are definitely doing a lot. Very recently, and of course, when I say that we are doing a lot, I must sum up that there are 3 major dimensions which we are trying to touch base for the student fraternity and to give them the conduciveness to go for the corporate sector. First, the academic quality. And as per the academic quality within the classroom sessions, the curriculum has to be upgraded based on the expectations of the recruiters. Then comes very important component besides academic quality, the pedagogical innovations, that how classroom treatment and the student engagement is done in the campus. So for that, obviously, how much we are related and connected with the reality and practice, that needs to be understood. So obviously, when I say the curriculum upgradation, the examples are that in last 1 year, we have added 42 new modules in the curriculum of our campus. The modules are likes of the analytics has been added as one component in almost every specialization subjects, whether that is HR analytics or marketing analytics or the financial modeling or the business analytics. Then obviously it is very important to understand that today we are not living in the so-called tech sector, or the students can be prepared separately for the technology or the IT sector. In fact, every single sector is impacted by the technology. So the students' digital literacy has to go beyond to the level of even digital expertise. So that's why the integration of every single subject with the technology is very much needed. That's the reason that even in the first trimester, in human resource management, 1 full unit of HR analytics has been added by us. In the marketing management, in the first trimester, even the Google Analytics has been added as 1 full unit, and which is having 1 credit for the students. So that's how the curriculum definitely has to be aligned accordingly. The second component which has been added very recently by us and which has seen a lot of success rate in terms of its transition and conversion into the placements of the students, if in any ways placement is the outcome expected in the B schools. Of course, I don't believe that otherwise, because I believe placement has to be a byproduct. The focus of a B school has to be on creation of the skills, not on the placements. But yes, it is an irony in our society that the students consider placement as an outcome. But yes, if it is an outcome, even then the correlation is very strong at IMS Ghaziabad about curriculum upgradation and the skill enhancement. And the second dimension, which I was trying to add on over here, is the value addition. And for that, value added certification courses, which we have integrated in our curriculum. We have tied up with various agencies around us, like for MS Excel Advanced Certification, we have tied up with Microsoft. For Google Analytics and Business Analytics course, we have tied up directly with IBM for 30 hours, 3 credit module to be offered to 100% students.
Ma'am, I'll come back to you. Can we pass on?
Yes,
We'll
sure.
go to the next round.
So let me wind up in 30 seconds. That these value adds, whether they are with collaboration with MCX, whether with IBM, they are definitely giving a lot of inputs to the students, and outcomes are very clearly visible. And the third component is the global interface, which is very, very important to be integrated in the curriculum in all the organizations and B schools today, for which we have also created 2 full-fledged subjects DBT, that is Digital Business Transformation, and MCIT, Management of Change, Innovation and Technology, which are being taught by the global experts in the campus. But yes, definitely there are much more, I'm very sure, needed to be done. These are very humble initiatives by the campus and they are giving us huge results. Thank you. Over to you, please.
So learning to learn is one thing that comes up with whatever ma'am said. So that is what we need to teach students, or students need to learn that aspect. So whatever changes come, they are able to adapt to that. Over to Dr. Vishwanath. What's your opinion on this?
Delegates and the panelists. So I was listening for last 2 hours the sessions, and now just I was recalling in the last 32 years how we have been transformed as an educationalist at various levels. Generally, it is a perception we hear about from the people. 20th century individuals are educators teaching to 21st century workers using 19th century curriculum with 18th century pedagogy. Because this is the system, we are in university system. We have to, most of course, B schools, most of B schools are autonomous. Yes, we have the privilege of bringing our own curriculum. But this is the challenge I think majority institutions are facing. So having how to overcome this. And when you look at the World Economic Forum report says very clearly that, the 4 skill sets are very, very essential to be successful in Industry 5.0 by the students, the learners. The one is the problem solving, very essential. And second is managing self. Today becoming very crucial for the current generation. Managing self is very crucial. The third is about working with groups, the work. And the fifth is about technology use and development. So by taking this into consideration, of course, much beyond, we have started the courses in a very different pedagogy architecture we brought in, wherein 60% is the core, which is mandate as per the curriculum has to be delivered, and 40% we brought in as the practicing courses, which have been graded. So what are these practicing courses? Primarily focusing upon these 4 key skills which the industry is expecting. Problem solving, we aligned with RI called as research incubation, whereby every student, it is a mandate. By the time he completes, he will be assigned to a faculty mentee. He or she has to publish one paper in the area of their interest under the guidance of a faculty, minimum in Scopus Index Journal. Trust me, this year already from January, the last year we published 75 papers out of 95 students, and this year already completed 25 from the last 3 weeks. So this is the one thing wherein we seen the result of it as a byproduct. Just now Madam said, Urosi said, no, byproduct, placement is a byproduct. Obviously, this we are able to see this year placements. So one is that. And secondly, about this area, actually, we have given another thing, version to rather, that is that, this is also shown how students are able to look complex problem solving. Because we ensure that, well, what is the risk that involved in solving complex problems? Because complex problems, solutions at times what they give may be beyond your thought. Am I able to see this impact? So that is the skill we have to imbibe in, that we are very successfully doing that through RI. That is what is critical thinking ability. And secondly, about managing self, very essential today. So we have a course called as Personality Enhancement Program, whereby we have lifestyle and life skills, lifestyle for healthy body, and life skills primarily focus upon how to be resilient, how to be, how to be stress tolerance, and how to be flexible to the work environments. And that's the life skills being taught there, along with interpersonal communication. And next, coming to the being the teams, being working people. The third skill which the industry is expecting today, highly coming generation. So that is what we are doing is we have a lot of initiatives given to the students. Actually, we have one of the very prestigious event called as Kanyatan Run for Her. It is the 9th year we are doing this, whereby it's purely run by the student body. They have a CEO. It's a corporate because they have a CEO, they have a manager branding. Everything is there. They have their own account. It's not run by the. So they mobilize every year more than 50 to 60 lakhs. They make a run. Last year we had 2,500 to run for this, and thereby that money is going for social cause. That means we connect to the society. That means we have Kanyatan Shiksha Kendras in 5 rural villages in Kolar district we adopted, whereby these students, weekends they go and they give lectures to them and they train them on computer literacy, the rural people. That means we are connecting. Once by running the event, they are learning the managerial skills, how to be a leader and how to be a team member. And secondly, also we are connected with the society. And the fourth one is technology. Today, I think digital literacy is very, very essential for us today to live with. So we have tie-up with Insofi, and we have with the MIT, and we have Darden, and we have Cambridge universities for different courses on analytics and digital literacy, digital business courses. So thereby, we are able to meet all the 4 expectations of the World Economic Forum for the industry. I think I'm very confident that, of course, this is not the end. There are many things to come in. I think we have to monitor the world very closely, because I want to tell one thing here, because the first technological revolution was Industry 3.0. It was happened in end of 20th century, whereby the Industry 4.0 has come beginning of 21st century. That's a shift, the change is happening. So we have to be alert, and we have to be every day observing that. And I think my panelists agree that no, we are on the track, and we are monitoring and doing things the way it is required.
Thank you, Dr. Vishwanath. Moving on to Professor Rupal. Now there is
Now it's working. So Professor Rupal, so there is a regulatory aspect to this, right? Industry 5.0. So in addition to what the institute is doing, can you throw some light on the regulatory aspect of Industry 5.0? I'll just give an example, and then maybe you can elaborate on that. So with this automatic programming coming up, so you must have heard of GitHub Copilot. So there you have to just give a comment that please download all the images on a particular web page. It will give you the code. You just have to paste the URL of the website. Now, people and companies have banned the use of Copilot because attribution is not proper. Who has written that code? Machine has written the code. And if it has copied from somewhere, you don't know the original author. So it's a regulatory issue, and people are in the courts to address this issue. So something like these will keep coming up. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And I agree with my co-panelists here in terms of the focus areas which we as B schools should be really looking at. Industry 4.0 was really about digitization, automation, IoT, blockchain, and the works, and that is continuing today. But Industry 5.0, when we are looking at it, is technology plus. It's really saying, can industry go beyond profitability and efficiency and look at impact in terms of social impact, impact on the planet where we are. You mentioned, about sustainability and resilience, and those are 2 very important pillars of Industry 5.0. But there's a very third important pillar, which is human centricity. Right? So these 3 put together is something that managers of tomorrow need to be looking at. And when we are looking at future of B schools and the management education, we have to look at future of work. How is industry going to shape up? Right? Technology is here to stay. All the examples which you gave are actually very relevant. While we are looking at how ChatGPT is doing assignments, tomorrow agencies will be thinking about what they need to do, because brand managers are going to ask ChatGPT to come up with the creative campaign, and they deliver that in equally that many seconds. So if our people are going to be managers there tomorrow, how do they deal with it? So I'll touch upon these aspects very briefly. So at SPJIMR, I'm very glad to share that it's not only now, but actually for more than 30 years that the Institute has really focused on societal impact. Our guiding principles have been influencing practice, which is the practice of management, and value-based growth. So when we said value-based growth, the idea was that, yes, business is about growth and profitability,